Good morning everyone. So in the last class we started blood pressure. So blood pressure, everything I explained. Next important is regulation of blood pressure. Okay. So regulation of blood pressure, because in our daily life the BP will be fluctuating. Okay. So in our work, if you are doing heavy works or from sitting to standing also our BP will varies. Okay, it will increase, then it come back to the normal. So to regulate this blood pressure, so there are various mechanisms are there. Okay, so various mechanisms are there, so that will regulate the BP. Okay. So this regulation of BP is very essential for our normal to maintain a normal BP in our day-to-day life. So there will be a fluctuation in BP for a various reason. So whenever there is any alteration in cardiac output or peripheral resistance or maybe increase in heart rate, like this. So if there is any changes in alteration in these factors, that will alter the BP. So immediately, so our body has a various mechanisms, so it will bring about to appropriate changes in any of these two determinants, means any alteration in cardiac output or peripheral resistance or heart rate, so immediately it is coming to the normal by various mechanisms. So we will see which are those. So before that, we will see the centers. Okay, so mainly there are centers that are involved in the regulation of blood pressure, which is mainly present in the brain stem. Okay, so this is the brain stem. If you see the section of the brain, so this is the brain stem. So in the brain stem there is a midbrain. Okay, there is a midbrain, pons and medulla. Okay, so midbrain, pons and medulla. So mainly the centers are present in brain stem. Okay, so this together called brain stem. So mainly contain the midbrain, pons and medulla. The regulation of BP, the centers. Okay, the center is mainly present in the brain stem. Clear? That is also in medulla, so very important. So we will see which are the centers. Okay, so one is a vasomotor center. Okay, so vasomotor center. So this vasomotor center alter the smooth muscle activity of blood vessels. So all the blood vessels are made up of a smooth muscle. There are three types of muscles, right? Skeletal muscle, cardiac muscle and smooth muscle. So skeletal muscles are mainly present as skeleton, cover the skeleton. Cardiac muscle are in heart, and smooth muscles are present in some GI, gastrointestinal tract, then in the stomach, liver, gallbladder, urinary bladder, etc. And also the blood vessels, all the blood vessels are made up of smooth muscles. Okay, so this vasomotor center mainly alter the smooth muscle activity. That means either it cause the constriction. Okay, constriction of the blood vessel or relaxation of the blood vessel. Okay, so that is mainly through a sympathetic nerve. So I already told there are sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve. Okay, sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve, so mainly involved, mainly supplying to the heart, right? Mainly supplied to the heart. If the sympathetic stimulation, that will cause the contraction of the cardiac muscle, and also it will alter the activity of smooth muscles of blood vessels. Okay, so blood vessels is not made up of cardiac muscle, so all the blood vessels are made up of a smooth muscle. Okay, so how? By through vasomotor center, so mainly through altering the smooth muscle activity of the blood vessels. Okay, the next one is cardiac vagal center. Okay, so very important. Also call it as cardiac inhibitory center, means inhibition. So you know in medical terminology what is inhibition? Stimulation. Inhibition means stopping the activity. Okay, so inhibition means stopping the activities and negative. Okay, so it is stopping the activity or secretion or whatever. Okay, inhibition means stopping. So stimulation means promoting, okay, or enhancing the activity. So here the cardiac vagal center. So vagal, so vagus or parasympathetic. Okay, so both are same. So that means, so this cardiac vagal center or a vagus always inhibit the activity. So hence it is called cardiac inhibitory center. Okay, here, so this cardiac inhibitory center acts through the vagus nerve. Okay, acts through the vagus nerve. Understood? So vagus nerve, you know, parasympathetic nerve or vagus nerve. So this cardiac inhibitory center mainly contain a three region. One is a dorsal motor nucleus of vagus. Okay, so the names are a little bit difficult, so can't change the name, right? So it already I already identified this part and they gave the name, so can't change, so little bit difficult. So you can if you study hard you can remember, no problem. Okay, dorsal motor nucleus of vagus, nucleus of tractus solitarius, NTS. Okay, so nucleus of tractus solitarius, nucleus ambiguous. So just remember like this. Okay, nucleus, Na means nucleus ambiguous, this NTS means nucleus tractus solitarius. So these are the center mainly inhibitory function. Understood? Mainly it will inhibiting the activity. Understood? If this center is gets stimulated, so that will inhibit the cardiac activity. Clear? So next, the last one is respiratory center. So it mainly this respiratory center, by changing this respiratory center is also present in the medulla and the brainstem. Okay, so that is by changing the intrapleural pressure, so it affects the venous return and cardiac output. Okay, the respiratory center, what it will do if this gets stimulated, it affects the venous return and cardiac output. So cardiac output mainly cardiac BP mainly depends on cardiac output. So like that it is connection. Okay, understood the centers? So very important. Okay, mainly in the BP regulation there are the centers are present in the brain stem. Okay, so in the brain stem, so there are three centers. One is vasomotor center, cardio inhibitory center, and respiratory center. So vasomotor center, it alters the smooth muscle activity of the blood vessel by acting through the sympathetic nerve. Okay, then cardiac vagal center, that is inhibitory center, it acts through a vagal nerve. Okay, acts through vagus nerve or parasympathetic nerve. So it mainly it has a three areas. One is dorsal motor nucleus of vagus, nucleus of tractus solitarius, and nucleus ambiguous. Next, the respiratory center. The respiratory centers mainly by changing the intrapleural pressure. So that you will come to know in the respiratory class what is pleura and all. So it mainly act by altering the cardiac output. Okay, venous return, cardiac output. So mainly cardiac BP depends on the cardiac output. So like this it is controlling the or it altering the blood pressure. So centers clear, right? Okay, so just they will ask the name the centers. Okay, So next, coming to the regulation, there are various mechanisms are involved in the regulation of blood pressure. So there are various mechanisms, different mechanisms are there. So we grouped these mechanism into three. Okay. So one is the rapid acting mechanism. So rapid means immediate mechanism, immediately. So if there is any from sitting position to standing, so our BP will, if you standing for longer time and if you suddenly sit and then you stand, so our BP will increases. So that is immediately it is come back to normal. So that is a rapid acting mechanism. Okay. A short term or rapid or immediate mechanism. So immediate mechanisms are, one is a baroreceptor reflex. Okay. Baroreceptor reflex, chemoreceptor reflex, and CNS ischemic response. Okay. CNS ischemic response. So these immediate mechanisms will try to regulate the BP within few seconds of alteration. Okay. So other mechanisms are start acting only after few minutes to hours. So these rapid acting mechanism will act within a few seconds. So that is very important. Okay. So what will happen if the BP falls for few seconds to few minutes? So that is our blood flow to different organ is depends on the blood pressure. Okay. If it is normal within the range, the the flow of blood to the organ will be normal. So if the brain if the brain is not get enough blood within a seconds, okay, if the brain, this is an example, okay, so if the BP falls, the brain is not receiving the enough blood, within a second there is a giddiness will takes place. If it is perceived for 5 minutes, if the brain is not receiving the enough blood for about 5 minutes, the person will go to coma. Okay. So it is very important to maintain the BP in normal. Okay. So if it is higher also, what will happen, the brain capillaries will burst. Okay. Brain hemorrhage will takes place if BP is higher, or if the BP is low, the blood flow to the brain, because brain cells are very sensitive to lack of oxygen. Okay. So if the few seconds, if the brain is not receiving the blood enough, what will happen, the giddiness will take place. If it is persist for 5 minutes, the person will go to coma. Okay. So irreversible changes will take place in the brain. Okay. So very important of this, the rapid acting mechanism. So in this there are baroreceptor reflex, chemoreceptor reflex, and CNS ischemic response. Okay. So these three mechanisms are important. So if the question is a very important question also from CVS, short term regulation of BP. Okay. So what and all you have to explain the short term regulation of BP. You have to write baroreceptor reflex, chemoreceptor reflex, and CNS ischemic response. Okay. So we will see detail in the next class. So next, coming to intermediate regulatory mechanisms. Okay. So intermediate, here there are two mechanisms. One is the stress relaxation and fluid shift mechanism. So I will to study only the fluid shift mechanism is enough. Okay. Then the long term mechanisms. Okay. Long term, so that is mainly by controlling the volume of the volume by kidney and ECF volume. And another one is the indirect mechanism, very important, renin angiotensin aldosterone mechanism, or simply renin angiotensin mechanism is enough. Okay. So next, coming to the baroreceptor reflex. Baroreceptor, they start acting within a few seconds. Okay. These are basically a stretch receptors which is present in carotid sinus and arch of aorta. So carotid sinus, and so you can see in the diagram. So this is the arch of aorta. So this is one baroreceptors which is present in arch of aorta and carotid sinus. Okay, carotid sinus. So when the heart pumps the blood, so it is going through the aorta and carotid sinus and all. If it is passing through this baroreceptors will detect the pressure changes. Okay, it will detect the pressure changes. So from the carotid sinus and arch of aorta, it is mainly carried by glossopharyngeal nerve. Okay, so mainly carried by glossopharyngeal and a vagus nerve. So just remember this is the ninth and 10th cranial nerve. Okay, if it is difficult to remember the name, the glossopharyngeal nerve and vagus nerve, so better remember as ninth and 10th cranial nerve. Okay, so from the carotid sinus and arch of aorta, the baroreceptors, the impulses are carried by ninth and 10th cranial nerve. Okay, so from here it is going to the medulla. So I already told, in the medulla there is a vasomotor center and cardioinhibitory centers or cardiovascular centers are present. So from here the impulses will go to the spinal cord, and from the spinal cord it is going to sympathetic supplies to the heart. Okay, so that is enough. So now the important is a mechanism. Okay, no need of drawing these things. Okay, so no need of drawing this diagram. Okay, so for your convenience I told how it is passing. Okay, so from the arch of aorta, the baroreceptor present in arch of aorta and carotid sinus, the impulses are carried by, mainly all the impulses are carried by nerve only. Okay, so there are different nerves are there, so that will carry the different functions or different impulses. In that, the glossopharyngeal and vagal nerve, 9th and 10th cranial nerve, is carried to the cardiovascular centers which is present in medulla. So from there it is going to spinal cord. So from the spinal cord it is through the sympathetic chain, it is going to the supplying to the heart. So just you write the mechanism is enough. Okay, so how it is regulating we will see. So here the one thing you have to remember is so this baroreceptors will function, it has a range. Okay, it has a range of 90 to 200. Okay, 90 to 200. That means below 90, so these baroreceptors will not function, or above 200 if the BP goes. Okay, if the BP falls below 90 or below 60, so the baroreceptor will not function. Okay, or if it is above 200, the baroreceptor will fail to bring back to normal BP. Okay, so there is a range is there. Within this range, so it will function. So we'll see whenever there is increase the BP. Okay, so whenever there is increase in BP, increase the stretching of arterial wall. Okay, so baroreceptor stimulated. You just write the increase in BP. So baroreceptors get stimulated. So So impulses via of the vagus and glossopharyngeal nerve or ninth and 10th cranial nerve. It is reaching the center, stimulation of neurons of NTS. So now what the baroreceptor has to do is, there is increase in BP. The BP increases, the cardiovagal the cardioinhibitory centers has to stimulate. It has to, baroreceptor has to decrease the BP, right? So in this case the cardioinhibitory center gets stimulated. Okay, so cardioinhibitory centers are nucleus tractus solitarius. There are three are there na. So if you write the stimulation of a cardioinhibitory center is enough. Okay, so stimulation of cardioinhibitory centers will increase the vagal tone, decrease the heart rate, decrease the cardiac output, decrease the systolic BP. Now BP is increase, so we have to decrease the BP, right? So other side, in the vasomotor center, there is an inhibition of vasomotor center takes place. So that will decrease the vasomotor tone, blood vessels dilated, decrease the peripheral resistance and decrease the diastolic BP. So both systolic and diastolic BP are decreases. Understood? So now the baroreceptor, whenever there is increase in, now in this case there is increase in blood pressure. So blood pressure increases. Now the baroreceptor has to decrease the BP to bring back to normal. So what it will do? So through vagus and glossopharyngeal nerve stimulate the cardioinhibitory centers. Okay, so cardioinhibitory center will decrease the vagal tone, decrease the heart rate, decrease the cardiac output, so decrease the systolic BP. Okay, so now other side it will inhibiting. So here it is stimulating, so here it is inhibiting the vasomotor center. So always it is like that. If BP decreases, this will inhibit. Okay, so this will inhibit, so this will stimulate, like that. So inhibit the vasomotor center, decrease the vasomotor tone. So here it is vagal tone, this is a vasomotor tone. Then blood vessels get dilated, peripheral resistance decreases, because always the diastolic BP depends on the peripheral resistance. Okay, then decrease the diastolic BP and the BP come back to normal. Okay, so that's complete the baroreceptor reflex. So in the textbook there is one flow chart is there. So you can write that flow chart. So or you can write, so whatever I shown here. Okay, this is also enough. Understood? So that is baroreceptor reflex. Mr. Chemoreceptors. So other than the baroreceptors, these chemoreceptors are also act on the vasomotor centers. Okay, it acts through the vasomotor center and altering the smooth muscle activity. So we will see which are the chemoreceptors. So chemoreceptor means you know. So any changes in the chemical composition of blood. That means decrease in oxygen content or increase in carbon dioxide content. So it will act. Okay. chemoreceptors are carotid body and aortic body. Okay, so these are which is present near to the baroreceptors. Okay, so carotid body and aortic body. So this is a aortic body and carotid body. So now the heart pumps the blood, so which is going through the aorta. So whenever there is oxygen content decreases, this carotid body get stimulated. So same blood is reaching the carotid here also, right? Carotid arteries. So that time, so that carotid body also gets stimulated. We'll see the mechanism. Okay. Whenever there is a oxygen content, partial pressure of oxygen content falls below the 60 mmHg. Okay. So oxygen content decreases. If you write oxygen content decreases, then that will lead to hypoxia. Hypoxia is a condition where the oxygen content decreases in the blood. So immediately, so from the carotid body and aortic body, the 9th and 10th cranial nerve. So this is also glossopharyngeal and vagal nerve. Okay, so get stimulated. So now there is a decrease in oxygen content. We have to increase the BP. So more and more oxygen can be oxygen content we have to increase. The body has to increase, or the chemoreceptors has to increase. So what it will do, it will inhibit the cardio-inhibitory center. Okay, so remember, so if you write here stimulate, then all your flow chart is wrong then. Okay, so whenever there is a decrease in oxygen content, that will inhibit the cardio-inhibitory center. So increase the heart rate, increase the cardiac output, increase the systolic BP. Okay, because if increase in BP, more and more blood gets supplied to the organ, oxygen delivery will be increases like that. Okay, that will, here it will stimulate the vasomotor center, that cause the vasoconstriction, peripheral resistance increases, the total peripheral resistance increases, increase the diastolic BP. Clear? So chemoreceptor reflex, so any chemical changes in the blood can be detected by these chemoreceptors. Okay, so important stimulation is hypoxia. So whenever the hypoxia, the oxygen content in the blood decreases, now the chemoreceptors will try to increase the BP. If the BP increases, the blood flow to the organ increases. If the blood flow to the organ increases, so mainly the blood contain oxygen, right? So more oxygens get delivered to that organ. So how? So through the aortic body and carotid body, the 9th and 10th cranial nerve. Okay, it is carried by 9th and 10th cranial nerve. So one side it is inhibiting the cardio-inhibitory center. Okay, so the heart rate increases, cardiac output increases, the arterial BP increases, and it is stimulating the vasomotor center. So total peripheral resistance increases, increase the diastolic BP. So that's complete the chemoreceptor reflex. So next, coming to the CNS ischemic response. Okay, so CNS means central nervous system. Ischemia means constriction of the blood vessels. What will happen? There's a decrease the blood flow to brain. The severe decrease in blood flow called ischemia. Okay, so when a blood pressure fall below 40, okay, so that is very 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 less, right? So if the blood pressure falls below 40, there will be a severe decrease in blood flow to the brain. Okay, blood flow to the brain decreases. So I already told. So if it is blood flow decreases in the brain, so that will leads to giddiness, or maybe the person will go to the coma. Now, so this immediately what it will do is it will increase the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the brain, which directly stimulate the vasomotor center. Okay, so wait. So whenever blood flow to the CNS decreases, so that will blood flow to the vasomotor center will be lower. Okay, so this is a mechanism. So whenever the blood flow to the brain decreases, there is a blood flow to the vasomotor center, because that is the medulla, right? So that will also become lower. So that is failure to carry the oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, so oxygen and carbon dioxide will be less. There is, what will happen here? There is increase in carbon dioxide, decrease oxygen. Okay, so these are the lactic acid, carbon dioxide and metabolic waste, right? So it has to go from the, it has to wash out from the brain. So now what will happen? There is, this content will be more. Okay, oxygen content will be less. So that will directly stimulate the vasomotor center. So vasomotor center stimulation means what will happen, you know, that will increase the vasomotor tone, increase the peripheral resistance and increase the BP. Okay, so that is CNS ischemic response. That means, so whenever the BP falls below 40 mmHg, okay, the blood supply or oxygen supply to the brain decreases. Okay, so that time the metabolic waste like carbon dioxide, lactic acid content will increases in the brain. Okay, so that will carbon dioxide directly stimulate the vasomotor center and increase the BP. Understood? So this vasomotor center act through the vascular smooth muscles and cardiac muscles to restore the both systolic and diastolic blood pressure. So if you write increase the BP is enough. Okay, but these mechanisms will be lost for only few minutes. Okay, so this mechanism is last for only few minutes. If this mechanism, this is the last mechanism. Okay, this is the last rapid acting mechanism to bring the BP to normal. So if this is also fails, so then there is an intermediate and long term mechanism will involve. So understood? These are the short mechanism, short term regulation of BP. So in this today's class, what we discussed is in the regulation of blood pressure. So in the regulation of blood pressure, so one is important is the centers. Okay, the centers are mainly present in the brain, brainstem. So from there, it is regulating through sympathetic and parasympathetic nerve. Okay, so these centers are vasomotor center, cardiovagal center or cardioinhibitory center. So in the cardioinhibitory center there are three. Okay, so vasomotor center by acting through changes in the smooth muscle activity. Okay, so next one is a respiratory center. Next, coming to regulation, there are short term regulation, intermediate regulation and long term regulation. In the short term regulation, mainly these mechanisms bring the BP to normal within few seconds. Okay, it acting within few seconds. Okay, in this baroreceptor reflex, chemoreceptor reflex and CNS ischemic response. in baroreceptor reflex, so what you have to write? The location, then the mechanism. Okay, chemoreceptor reflex, the location of the chemoreceptors, then their action. Okay, CNS ischemic response, so very important this one. Okay, so whenever the blood flow to the brain decreases, okay, below 40 mmHg, the blood pressure below 40 mmHg, so immediately the oxygen supply to the brain decreases and the carbon dioxide content will increases in the brain. So this carbon dioxide directly stimulate the vasomotor center. Okay, directly stimulate the vasomotor center and bring the BP to normal, increase the BP. So blood flow to the brain increases, the oxygen delivery also increases, carbon dioxide content decreases. So then it will become normal. If this is the last mechanism to restore the blood pressure and blood flow to the brain within few seconds. Clear? Okay. So next is the intermediate regulatory mechanism. So in the intermediate regulation, one is the stress, relaxation and fluid shift mechanism. So I will tell only the fluid shift mechanism. It is one mechanism is enough. Whenever the BP increase in blood pressure, so this fluid shift mainly acting in capillaries, okay, in the capillaries. So increase the blood flow through capillaries increases. If this one increases the capillary filtration pressure, I already told in the capillaries. So this side there is a filtration, venous side there is a absorption is taking place. So this filtration pressure increases, okay, capillary filtration pressure is increases. So whenever the capillary filtration pressure increases, there is a shifting of fluid is taking place. Okay, normally there is shifting of fluid. So here there is increase in the shift of the fluid to interstitial space from intravascular compartment. So there are different compartments is there. So these things are not needed for you. So there are different compartments are there in our body. So the whenever the blood volume increases, shifting of blood to that compartment increases, like that it is happening. Okay, so within the cells also, between the cells there is an interstitial space is present. Okay, so increase the shifting of the fluid to the interstitial space is taking place. So that will decrease the blood volume. So BP come back to normal. Okay. So that's complete the fluid shift mechanism. The fluid shift mechanism, so mainly taking place in the capillaries. Whenever the BP increases, there is increase in the capillary pressure. So increase the shifting of fluid from interstitial space from intravascular compartment. So this is important. Okay, then decrease the blood volume. So blood volume decreases, so BP is also decreases and come back to normal. That is fluid shift mechanism. Okay, so I will stop here only. Thank you all.